Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. It's not officially fall yet, but it's starting to look that way in some parts of the southern tier. Our Maggie Hall rang in the season today with one of the many fall activities the Corning Museum of Glass has to offer.
Fall is a fantastic time to visit the Corning Museum of Glass, and the star of our fall season here is glass pumpkins.
The museum has a multitude of pumpkins in their gift shop area. They even have the biggest glass pumpkin in the world on display at their front entrance.
Here at the Corning Museum of Glass, you can bring home your own pumpkin, and there's no reason to visit a pumpkin patch. All you have to do is visit the glass studio here at CMOG.
Today, I made my own glass pumpkin with James, one of the glass blowers at the studio. Your glass blower is with you during explaining every step of the glass's journey.
It just opens up an air valve and allows about 2 pounds of pressure to flow through this hose. It'll be connected to the blowpipe, and that's going to inflate the glass as we work with it.
Pumpkins aren't the only fall-themed glass you can make in the studio.
We also have the fall foliage pendants, which basically you can make a pumpkin pendant, or you can make a leaf pendant in fall colors. And then we also have samples for our everyday projects that we hold throughout the year. So we have fusing and sandblasting projects. We put out fall samples so people can get inspiration from that.
To make your own glass pumpkin or fall-themed glass project, go to the website visit.cmog.org/makeyourown-glass. Happy fall, everyone! Maggie Hall, Big Fox News, Corning.
An Elmira man arrested by Corning police on drug charges. Marquand Stedman Jones arrested by Corning police around 6:30 this morning. Officers executed a no-knock search warrant at 67 Bridge Street. Inside, officers found cash, cocaine, and a large amount of heroin. Stedman Jones was taken to Steuben County Jail for arraignment. A Sayre man is dead after a chemical explosion at a Wysox water treatment plant. According to an autopsy report, Jeremy Lozano's cause of death was chemical and thermal burns caused by the explosion. The death has been ruled an accident, but is under investigation by OSHA. The southern tier is full of diverse cultures and traditions. Big Fox's Josh Feldberg went to a documentary screening put on by the Arts Council of the Southern Finger Lakes that highlights the traditions and stories of different local cultural groups.
The Community Documentation Workshop held a screening last night of multiple short documentaries highlighting different cultural groups in the southern tier.
The Community Documentation Workshop is an effort to train local community residents with the skills to document their own cultural heritage.
The program was an 8-week workshop that trained mostly first-time filmmakers to create meaningful pieces.
I've been in creative pursuits my whole life, but this was the first time of actually, I guess, working with video in a way of cutting things together and talking to people and learning their stories and figuring out which parts of their stories were the really important ones to tell.
The documentaries allowed the filmmakers to portray similar messages that as a society we may sometimes forget.
I think the message that I would like people to get is all about the different things that we do in our culture, the efforts that we take to keep it alive, the innovative efforts that parents who migrated here so many years ago have been taking to keep the culture alive amongst their kids.
From my perspective, the idea was to share it with the bigger audience, to let the people of this area, the southern tier, know how lucky we are to be one family and to share our stories and share things that they might not have known about different cultures, different religion, different people from different countries.
I hope people gain a sense of understanding and a deeper interest and curiosity and appreciation for the cultural diversity of our region and a sense of connection and a realization that, you know, we share more in common than we do in difference.
The documentaries are available on the Arts Council website. Josh Feldberg, Big Fox News, Elmira.
Corning Inc. announced this week that it's receiving over $1 million in funding for manufacturing of pharmaceutical glass tubing and vials. The grant was given by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Biomedical Advanced Research and Developmental Authority. The manufacturing of the glass will happen at Corning facilities in Vineland, New Jersey, and in Durham, North Carolina. The Friends of the Horseheads Free Library are inviting the community to their book sale. Proceeds from the event go to benefit the Horseheads Free Library. The annual book sale will be going on tomorrow at the Town and Country Fire Hall. It will go from 10 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon. Bring a bag and fill it with books, CDs, or DVDs for only $5. For more information, visit the library's website. A former federal prosecutor will now be tasked with reviewing the thousands of documents taken from former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate last month. David Spunt has more from Washington.
A legal win for former President Trump. Federal Judge Raymond Dearie will serve as a special master, an independent investigator reviewing thousands of documents taken by the FBI at Mar-a-Lago in August. The former president's legal team and the Justice Department supported his appointment. Judge Eileen Cannon made the decision Thursday, but at the same time refused DOJ's request to use certain documents the FBI claimed were classified in its criminal investigation. She says DOJ must wait until Dearie is finished with his work.
Essentially what she's doing is she wants a trusted judge, retired judge here, who's very familiar with classified information, to help her figure out what documents should have been in Mar-a-Lago and which documents couldn't be.
Despite endorsing Dearie as a candidate, DOJ officials opposed the appointment of the third party. Prosecutors argue a delay of the investigation could harm national security.
It looks like the DOJ is working to get an appeal, and I think that's wise, so that they can continue to pursue this case, protect those documents, those state secrets, and those sources and methods.
Trump was asked in an interview this week about the possibility of being indicted.
I think if it happened, I think you'd have problems in this country, the likes of which perhaps we've never seen before. I don't think the people of the United States would stand for it.
Judge Cannon is giving Dearie until November 30th to finish his work. At the Justice Department, David Spunt, Fox News.
Your complete weekend forecast is next. Plus, a warning about the growing problem of job interview scams. Stay with us.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Well, conditions have started to turn a little bit more pleasant. However, as we stepped into the afternoon, we did see some of the slight cloud cover increase due to a weak frontal system that is setting up across Lake Ontario and using some of that moisture to create some of that upper level cloud cover. So with some of those passing clouds, know that they are expected to clear out, as much of that is actually expected to continue to shift off to the north and then become stationary. So our area should become under some sunshine, especially with a high pressure system off to the south that is going to continue to work its way towards the east coast and bring us some brighter as well as pretty pleasant conditions. We have an easterly wind in place at about midnight, but you start to see that become out of the south, and that southerly wind is what's going to give us a very pleasant weekend. Now, overnight low temperatures are expected to fall into the 50s. We're not seeing widespread fog cover like we have been at times, but patchiness might be around, so note that you still have that fog potential in place. But temperatures will be about 54 degrees. Typically this time of the year we drop into the 40s, so slightly warmer than average, as that's what the weekend is going to sit at, is slightly warmer than average, but a beautiful weekend ahead. Not going to feel totally fall-like nor a little summer-like, but that might be your chance to get outdoors and enjoy, because we know that winter is definitely trying to knock on the door, and we might start to see that with some of the temperature trends ahead. However, we are looking at the mid-80s to set up for Sunday, so that's definitely summer-like. However, on Sunday we might start to see some of this cloud cover increase similar to what we were seeing today, as there is going to be that approaching low pressure system that is causing for some showers across Lake Ontario to to finally see its approach towards the region and bring a better chance for some rainy conditions that look to be taking over the Elmira area on Monday. However, the cold front passage looks to hold off, which means that we could be talking about some warmer conditions in place still as we step through next week before there might be a bigger cool down next weekend. Heading into our Saturday forecast, we see that pleasant sunshine is around from those 50s. We'll quickly be able to climb into those 70s and may even have a chance to see our first 80-degree day back into the region as early as Saturday, as Elmira has that chance to see 82 degrees, which is bringing us nearly about 10 degrees above average, which is about 75 degrees. So from seeing the really cool conditions early on, we've been definitely seeing the real big flip in the calendar page. Even Westfield around 79 degrees to Wayland just around 80 degrees. And Sunday, as mentioned, those mid-80s do bump those temperatures up as we continue under sunshine. Now we'll start the day off with those warmer conditions as well, even 60s for lows into the Finger Lakes to about 59 in Elmira and Corning, and afternoon high temperatures will be able to again hit those mid-80s. Now you're seeing a few showers there noted into the Finger Lakes, as that's where the rainfall is going to be coming from. It's going to be coming from the north from this system, as we are going to be watching the low moving through the northern portions of the Great Lakes, and then we'll be pushing in those showers for our Monday forecast. So we'll note maybe a pullback in those temperatures due to some cloudier and showery weather, but it doesn't take long to break into that sunshine and see some warmer conditions at least through Thursday.
A woman in the Kansas City area is warning others about one of the ways scammers are trying to get victims' bank account information. Dave DeMarco has the story.
I just want people to know these are out there. I want them to know how to spot them.
Well, last month, Susan Strauss saw a post in a Sugar Creek community group about a work-from-home position.
I was like, okay, I think I'm going to do this. I'm looking for extra money in this economy. Who isn't?
But almost immediately after responding and downloading an app, she found herself in a job interview.
It was hours long. It was like a legitimate interview. You know, what are your skills? What are your strong points? What are your weaknesses?
Strauss has lost money to scams 3 times already this year, so she was probably on higher alert than most people over 60. But everything seemed legitimate. The app was real. So was the Kansas City staffing company she thought she was interviewing with.
Great, you got 91% on the answers. You are hired.
So hired right there on the
Hired right there on the spot.
Then it came time to make sure she'd get paid. They asked for a photo ID, bank account number, and routing information, all what she saw as standard request. Then they said they'd also need her bank account username and password.
I wouldn't give that information to my family members. Oh, no, we have to have it. And I said, but why? Well, we pay people and they say they don't get paid, so we need to track it.
Still in the interview, she called the KC company.
The corporate office also told me you would be surprised how often this happens. This is what's going around now. Scammers are using actual companies.
According to social catfish analysis of FBI data, Missourians lost more than $60 million to scammers last year. Kansans nearly $34 million. That's part of $6.9 billion nationwide. While young victims are growing at the fastest rate, people over 60 still lose the most.
When people get scammed like that, they lose hope and they lose faith. And sometimes people lose money. And it makes me angry.
California is taking Amazon to court. The state attorney general filing a lawsuit this week alleging the online retail giant violated antitrust laws.
Every click, every basket, every box comes at a cost. California Attorney General Rob Bonta says Amazon is intentionally pushing prices higher.
Amazon's practices prevent basic price competition and cost consumers more by preventing different online stores from competing to outdo each other with lower and lower prices.
So his office is suing, alleging Amazon requires merchants to sign contracts that penalize them or not highlight their products if they're offered for a lower price elsewhere.
Amazon has stifled its competition for years, not by successfully competing, but by blocking competition on price. As a result, California families paid more. And now Amazon must pay the price.
If I have to pay a little bit more, I'll do that. But oftentimes I'm recognizing I'm actually paying a little bit less.
Prime member and financial expert Chris Markowski says sometimes it comes down to the cost of convenience and the overwhelming popularity of the platform.
We're seeing whether or not Amazon has the right to actually kind of force people to maybe charge a little bit more or charge their vendors a little bit more based upon the fact that they're getting more traffic in the first place.
But Bonta says Amazon is breaking the law, using its market dominance to set an artificial price floor for products.
If you use your power to illegally bend the market at the expense of California consumers, small business owners, and the economy, we'll see you in court.
Amazon responded in a statement saying the California Attorney General has it exactly backwards. Sellers set their own prices for the products they offer in our store. The relief the AG seeks would force Amazon to feature higher prices to customers, oddly going against core objectives of antitrust law.
Next, it's important for a child's development for them to connect socially with their peers. We look at a Playdate app that is helping families connect their kids with like-minded friends. Pandemic-era lockdowns, restrictions, and social distancing kept us all apart. And while it was hard on adults for young children, many weren't able to interact with kids their own age. Jill Nadeau has a look at how one app is helping parents broaden their child's social circle.
It's been referred to as Tinder for children, except instead of finding love interests for kids, an emerging app called Playdate is helping families find friends for their little ones. According to the CDC, it's important for a child's development for them to connect socially with their peers. And after the pandemic kept so many young children sheltered, the Playdate app is making it easier for them to broaden their friend groups.
I'm really focused on attachment parenting and responding to my child. So meeting like-minded parents, that's really important for me.
Currently, the Dubai-based app is available to users in the United Arab Emirates, the U.S., and the U.K. Parents with kids between the ages of 0 and 12 can create accounts, and similar to some popular dating apps, parents can swipe left or right to secure friend matches for their kids.
You want a judgment-free environment, and this app helps you do that.
Besides connecting caretakers with families sharing similar parenting styles, the app lets users, especially those who move to new areas, find other families with similar backgrounds and cultures. Playdate's founder also says it's proving helpful for a growing number of dads.
2022 dads set up Playdates as well. And it is hard also for fathers, so that's why we designed it as a family-to-family app.
Going forward, officials say they're looking to broaden app usage in the U.S., citing a potential market of roughly 22 million users here in the States. Jill Nadeau, Fox News.
Well, people who start their day early and stay busy for most of it might benefit mentally. Researchers at the University of Pittsburgh examined 1,800 older Americans. They found that early risers who are active all day and stick to the same routine every day have better cognitive function and are happier. This is especially beneficial with older age. A town north of Philadelphia celebrates a man who's been an institution there. Don Timoney has the story.
I was more than happy to help with the bow tie.
Okay, let's see.
As 77-year-old barber Paul Straits gets ready for his big night, Jenkintown celebrating 60 years of this legendary guy snipping and clipping hair. His secret to success?
You really have to be affordable, affordable, and available.
Paul arriving in style at the town square in a barber chair where more than 100 people came out to honor a man who's basically a town fixture. Paul has cut 5 generations of John Trout's family.
My grandfather, my father, myself, my son, and my grandson.
Paul started cutting Rob Harkin's hair when he was just 13 years old. He's now 61.
I feel a connection to Paul. This night's special for him. I wanted to be here for him.
The Philly fanatic also on hand.
A lot of hair here, man. Got the whole hat on.
Of course, there was a barbershop quartet.
Oh, shine on me.
And lots of well wishes. Longtime client and friend Dennis Stanton wanted to recognize Paul and put together the celebration.
He's a great guy. This guy has probably cut about 300,000 heads of hair. It's It's amazing.
And Paul prides himself on keeping up with the times and the styles.
I do go on YouTube every night, and I've studied all the new ones, so I can do all them too.
Paul relishing in the limelight, but it's back to work tomorrow. This guy's never missed a day of work in 6 decades. How does it feel to be so loved?
I love them, believe me. They gave me and my family a living, and I got a lot of joy out of everything.
Stay with us. More news right after this break.
Struggled upon. Wow, you're so smart. Huh?
Well, get your tissues ready. Army reservist Delai Labanog took advantage of her early homecoming to surprise her 2 kids while they were at school. Her first stop was her son's school, where she dressed as the school mascot Rocky the Roadrunner before taking her mask off and giving her son a big hug. Next, she was the surprise guest in her daughter Eliza's class. Delai had been away from home, serving in both Kuwait and Iraq for more than a year. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great weekend.